Here we are. Hello, everybody. This is John Polamaj, aka EbonyKeeper, coming at you from ebonykeeper.blog for episode number 4 of Marketing Meets EbonyKeeper. And it's going to be about attending training, right? So this is a very foreign concept to anyone who, maybe you were like me. I had no idea about training other than job training, academic training, going to school for training, going for the military for training. I knew about those concepts that are very, familiar to the everyone, really. Now, with what I'm talking about, attending training, we're talking about within the network marketing industry, right? And I know you guys like to, there we are. I know you guys or probably understand that I like to use analogies when I'm talking about this, right? So before we get into that, if you like my material, comment, subscribe. And if you love it, share it. Why not? Spread the vibes. So let's get into it, right? Attending training. So in network marketing, what is that in the first place? A network marketing industry, a network marketing company with inside of that industry, what do? They typically provide a product, just like Sam's Club and BJ's. They have a membership. The membership, pay monthly or yearly for, access to their product, and they use that bulk buying power in order for them to, what is it? In order for them to, had a little bit of lag right there. Yeah, in order for them to in order for them to provide that product to, the people and their members for whatever price that they would like. That's why, you can go to a Parker's and you can get a bottle of water for like, $2, $1. You can buy that same bottle of water at BJ's Sam's Club for 15 cents. That's just the bulk buying approach inside of the network marketing industry. And there's so many different companies, from everything, like, products, travel, everything. As you guys probably know, I'm part of a VIP travel club myself. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that, Randy. Randy's an absolute beast, guys. And that's just the situation of the network marketing industry, right? So why do you need training in order to market a product for a company? So, being that this is a different type of thinking, it requires a different type of training. Say you decided you want to be a doctor. You walked into a hospital and you said, all right, give me some gloves. You walked inside of an operation room. Somebody needed a brain operation. You had to cut it open, fix this, whatever. And you're like, give me the tools. And they're like, are you a doctor? And you're like, nah, I watched a YouTube video. I know how to do this. I'm pretty confident in myself, right? So we're going to turn off the vibrations as much as we can. And yeah, nobody's going to let you get close to that person. That's just how things work. You need training. Everybody understands that concept. However, when a lot of people, consider getting involved with a business, a lot of the times, when you're coming from an employee background, we try to use an employee mindset to regard that business. That is not how things go. That's how you end up being a total just loser, and you don't want to be a loser, believe me. Welcome, Ricky, to the live. We're talking about attending training. So then you have the employer mindset, right? So the employee mindset and the employer mindset, as you probably understand, they're both manufactured concepts. I can't remember what year it was, but, I know that companies, they realized their workers were too smart, and they needed schools in order to completely push out people who just, went into the system, followed the rules, and stayed where they were. They provided whatever amenities, perks, and everything to keep them comfortable. And so they constantly had people to, work at their business. And we've had that in the culture of schools forever. That's why in order to learn entrepreneurship nowadays, you have to actually have a business. You actually have to partner with another entrepreneur, be mentored by an entrepreneur, have one pay them to be your coach, right? By the law of proximity, by being around them, the people that they're around, you begin to naturally, organically rise to their understanding of business. So that's just how that works. So as you know, I like my analogy. So we're going to dive deep into history, right? And we're going to dive specifically to the 8th century BC. Why? So Greece at this time was becoming massive, prosperous, and their land was not supporting all of the people that they had. So what did they do? They decided to send out city-states, colonies to all these different places, Africa, everywhere. And one of the city-states that you may remember is called Sparta, right? Sparta was unfortunately, or you could say fortunately, depends on how you look at how their future ended up unraveling. They were placed in a spot where they were landlocked, entirely surrounded by mountains, right? And that proved to sort of change their approach to how they wanted to expand for their people. You could have had the person, the population where they were, good to go, stay within that space and, live a comfortable life. But they decided to do something a little bit different. I'm not saying I personally agree with it. It just is what happened in history. So being that they weren't seafaring people because they had no access to the ocean, they were cut off from everything, they decided to launch a violent campaign. And as you probably know, if you pay attention to history, they took over many, many colonies that were around them, and they ended up establishing a huge base that what was to be known as Sparta. Welcome to the live, Christina. And in order to keep that culture, to keep those people safe, they created a specific culture. Oh, welcome to the live, Carol. They created a specific culture for their people. They decided to make it an entirely military state. When you're 11 years old, you were put right into this sort of military boot camp situation. The children would sleep on reeds. They would wear one garment per year. And it was very disciplined. Some of I was in the Marine Corps, so I have a bit of an idea of how that was. But to be inducted into that at 11 years old, I only joined when I was 17, so that's crazy. No, thank you. But yeah, and for more than 300 years, Sparta, this massive, grown from a small little seed city-state, grew into what we remember it as in history. Their military campaigns were legendary. They were impossible to defeat, and the issue was around the same time that they was growing, Athens were growing as well, but Athens had an entirely different take on it, whereas Sparta, they had no focus on economy. The only way you could earn money is by having a farm. You actually had to raise your farm, and you had slaves called helots, I believe, and they had to take care of your farm. That was the only way, as a Spartan, that you could actually have any form of currency, as in the form of like vegetables. That's the only thing you could do. Whereas in Athens, it was very organic. Everything, they would adapt to their situation. They had the owl coin, and they grew quite large. And finally, in the 400 BC, around that time, they went into war against Sparta because Sparta was more military disciplined, and their tactics were literally genius. Welcome, Jessica Potter. It's a pleasure to have you. Wow. Because Sparta was just superior in every way. Military-wise, they won the war. However, because Athens were so versatile, even though they lost, what happened was, welcome, Jamie, to the live. Yo, guys, definitely got to check out Jamie's page. He's an absolute beast, traveling all over the world. Amazing. So, Sparta lost to Athens, but they had to take the huge amount of space, property that Athens had. And in order to, take control of all of that, they had to accept some of Athens' ways, and they accepted their currency. They'd send out, Spartan warriors to look over that city state and that property and everything. And it was quite the problem, because, money started to sabotage their disciplined mind. And so we get into why I'm talking about this. This episode is about attending training. Why are you talking about Sparta, 1600 years ago, John Paul, right? So the reason why I'm talking about that is during those 300 plus years that Sparta literally was it was impenetrable. Nobody could, stop them. All they cared about was defending their culture. They didn't care about changing or growing or anything like that, And then you had their rival they ended up going against, who had an entirely different mindset about everything, culture. They created things. Sparta, the slaves were the only ones who were allowed to be artists and express themselves. The only way you could express yourself is by killing other people and doing military things, So the reason why I'm talking about that is because that mindset that lasted 300 plus years of never growing, it's not conducive with nature, where you have, spikes and, you grow an outer skin that's harder, whatever the case may be. You are slackened by this effort. You become slower. You become less inclined or really able to react. Whereas, you're fast, you can swim and you can fly, you can run and do all these different things, spin webs and all that stuff. You have so much more versatility. You have so much more survival that it's really, we see where it's like from nature to warfare to business. It all really comes together. Why am I saying business? So let's look at that. Let's look at the Brontosaurus, and then let's look at the raptor. No, raptors are too small to hunt on the Brontosaurus. Let's say a pack of Tyrannosaurus Rexes, right? So you have someone who is, they have a job, for example. Typically, so long as they do whatever their job is, they'll get paid whatever they get paid. They're providing that service for their business that they work for, right? Now, the business owner is not really gonna. Oh, I definitely appreciate you, Jamie. The business owners, they're not going to, really teach you everything that they know, because then you can replace them. Whereas in a business, if somebody becomes your partner, or especially within the mold of network marketing, the more a person teaches you, the more both of you make money. And if you make more money than them, that's even more money for them. So, there's no losing by pouring all of your complexity into that person. Whereas a job, you're the owner of the business or whatever the case, they're only going to teach you what that job requires. And so long as you do that, you're good to go, right? Now, I look at jobs as Sparta, and I look at business as the Athens. So, right off the bat, Sparta goes, they have a long war, and they have that strong culture, right? And Athens, they adapt to everything. So they are initially defeated. However, they're absorbed into it, and because of their nature, they disseminate Sparta from the inside out. And when you look at business, right, and you see how when you get started in a business, so you never had a business before, so you never did network marketing before, and then you got involved, there are certain things that happened that actually improve your complexity, right? And some of these things are, you find somebody who's doing it much better than you. And typically anybody who's been in it longer and made a few bucks, used the product a little bit, they're doing it better than you because you're a newbie. That's just how it is. Everybody started as a newbie. The millionaires, they were all newbies once. They just decided to learn from somebody who knew what they were talking about, right? And, so they came in at this newbie level, and, they started to figure things out. Okay, this is a very like faith business. This is a faith-based business. Like, I just gotta believe in myself. Oh wow, that just happened. Oh, okay, that person just did that. Okay, I'm gonna do this, right? You just start to figure things out on your own. Whereas with a job, it's very monotonous. There's no change or anything like that. You do the same things, you click clack on the same buttons, you repeat the same words, and you get that weekly, bi-weekly, monthly paycheck. Whereas with a business, the more that you start, really understanding things, and the more excellent service that you provide for people, and the more you start like working on that marketable skill of presenting a product, the more you are value you're bringing to the marketplace. The marketplace doesn't care if you're white, yellow, green, purple. They don't care if you're a single mother. They don't care if you're homeless. They don't care if you were once rich and now you're poor. They don't care about anything other than the value you're bringing to the marketplace, right? So let's look at the value a worker brings to the marketplace compared to the value a business owner contributes to the marketplace. A worker, if they're paid $15 an hour, that means they're providing their job with $15 an hour worth of value. If they want that $100 an hour, they have to obviously provide them that amount of value. A lot of people complain about all these people who make all of this money, and many of them don't seem to understand. Sure, we do have the two divides that I talked about in my other episode, where you have the rich who become wealthy from manipulating a lot of people. And then you have the rich, which unfortunately is the smaller sector, who become wealthy by assisting, providing great value to a lot of people. And those two sections, that does divvy it up a bit, so we can't really use generic statements. Welcome to the live, right? We're talking about attending training, right? So when we look at what training is with having a business, first thing as things go, we have to be honest with ourselves. When you're getting involved with something new, you have to realize, okay, just like, when I was 5 years old or 4 years old and I entered into pre-K, I didn't know what was going on. People have to tell me, that's the alphabet. If your parents didn't teach you anything at home, mind you, that's the alphabet. This is 8, 1 plus 1, yada, yada, that's the sun, that's the moon. You kind of needed to be taught what these things were, to add them into your vocabulary so that you could understand what's going on. Same thing when you're getting involved with the business. You have to turn the ego off, which is something I had to learn, and you have to turn the curiosity on. What is this? What is that? How do I do this? What do you think about my way of doing this? That's one of the reasons why some people don't actually like this industry, because they're incapable of bringing down their ego. And, a lot of the times we teach in this that ego is not your amigo. Your ego can sometimes be larger than your bank account. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my dreams are bigger than my ego. So if I gotta use the dream force, I gotta do what I gotta do, because there's a lot of things I need to make happen, a lot of books I want to write, a lot of people I plan to collaborate with as an artist, as a business owner. I look at them both as the same thing. So, the ego cannot win or refuse. And the more people that I have around me that say, hey, JP, you're using your ego, I'm like, cool, I got to keep you around me. I very much value anybody who can help disrupt, the ego, right? So regarding that training, so you say you're going to a training, which I'm my English, my first language is like Creole, so like I keep mixing up things that I say. So in a week, I'm going over to United in Los Angeles. It's going to be amazing. And, we're going to do like Disneyland, Universal Studios. We're going to be trained by a lot of amazing people that are changing the world, and with my VIP travel club, invite only travel club. And that is going to be a training, me spending time with these people, me having conversations with these people, them actually pouring into us from their perspectives of life and the books that they read and everything like that. And that sort of meeting at the middle, where wherever you are in your life, mindset wise, economically wise, that meeting at the middle is all that matters. Because now you're in the proximity of success. What are you going to do about it? Now, there are two types of people that I sort of notice when I'm like reading books and when I'm interacting with people and when I look at myself, when I'm truthful with myself. First type of person, this person I regard as the disciplined, right? So the first type of person, they're aware and they look around the world, right? And they notice that there are winners and they notice that there are losers, right? And they learn from both, but they integrate the winner's philosophy into their lives. Because when you learn from another person's mistakes, you can skip the amount of time that it would have took for you to get through those mistakes. And, you can just press fast forward on this and that capacity of your life rather than doing everything yourself, which is another reason why I love this industry. We all make a lot of mistakes and we all come together and we're like, yo, don't do that. I did that once. And we're like, you're my brother now. Like, I'm adopting you. That's just how it is, right? And then, the discipline, they typically live their own kind of lifestyle. And they're obviously the minority of the population, whereas you have two. And two are the talkers. They are adept at talking about everything. But they won't do anything, right? I've been a talker. You've been a talker. We've had moments when we've been disciplined. It's just, when do you feel sick and tired of being sick and tired enough to move from the talkers to the disciplined? Because the disciplined, either one, if you're a talker, if you're a disciplined, say you have a child, say you have a family, they're all looking up to you, and how you live. And if you just talk about everything and, you're just looking for tea and gossiping and all that stuff, then, they're going to follow your footsteps. But if you're the disciplined, if you're creating things, if you're providing excellent service for people and you're, continuously making yourself better, then your children or your family, this will reflect in them. They will look for that inside of them and they will come to you for advice rather than ignoring you if you're a talker. So we have to be very honest with ourselves. Mind you, these videos that I'm making, these videos are only for the disciplined or the talkers who want to become disciplined. This is not, these videos, Marketing Meets EbonyKeeper is not just for talkers. I don't spend time with talkers. I know them once I talk to them because I used to be a talker myself. And, you have to have a filter. I know one of the laws of separation. That one is quite interesting because, if you're working on something and you have a vision attached to it and you're really pouring a lot of energy into it. And if you're not separating yourself from the people who themselves don't have vision, who themselves are not making things happen, then you're just letting anything come in. And that's not too good, because when you say, hey, I'm doing this, do you want to come with me? And they're like, no. Cool, I appreciate that, but don't bring me down. But then, and you spend time with them, and if they're the type to bring you down with their problems, with the complaining, which never does anything, then you have to separate yourself from them, or else they will bring you down. That's all I'm saying. Separation, the law of separation is a big thing, because as they see you start to get more comfortable in your own skin, you start to, speak with more gumption, you start to got this little bit of a swagger to you. They're going to see this in you, especially as you, start having monetary success, not including, personal development success. I look at all that stuff as success as well. Money is just a byproduct of the growth that we've become, the value we're providing to the marketplace, I find it more interesting the person that you become. Because when I look at myself, before I got into network marketing, before I got into the personal development, meditation, spiritual development, you know, I didn't really know myself. I read a lot of fiction books. I was like this, high energy kid. I'd make friends with anyone that was cool. And I didn't really have a filter, no law of separation. Didn't really understand that so many things that all these personal development books reveal are just hidden from me. Simply because I didn't read the book. Simply because I didn't have the conversation with the right person. Right? So, as I look at these Marketing Meet EbonyKeeper episodes as just intimate, how do you say? Informal sessions where I just share my thoughts about this or that topic, I feel that is a very good thing. It's sort of my way of providing value to the marketplace, right? So I'm not going to keep this one that long. Believe me, I have no interest in doing so. This one is going to be a very short live. But I did want to say that, wait, I think I wrote it down before I lose it. I did. I think I wrote it down. Right, okay. So, attending training. Last point. My first training, I literally was electrified by the energy in the room, by the stories of every single person I was meeting, people from Asia, people from all these different places. I remember I met this whole group that were called the Rat Pack. Rat standing for retired at 20. One lady, she was pregnant in her 20s, and she was already making retirement money off from the corporate world. So that baby was going to be born retired. Network marketing is a very different manner of thinking, my friend. That training hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I was like, wait, you're real? Wait, you've been on how many trips? You've been doing what? Are you saying all I gotta do is this and this and this and all I gotta do is build my ability to take no's as, I get used to accepting yeses from the people I'm supposed to work with naturally. What? No, you're kidding me, right? The people I've met have just been amazing to the point where I don't even feel like I'm doing business. I feel like I'm just building a family of people I want to be around and grow with, and for them to challenge me and check me, because if I'm gonna be an artist, if I'm gonna be, having a business and teaching people how to awaken their power voice, that's one of the things I've noticed about history. When you have somebody who gains a lot of power, and they exalt themselves and they heighten themselves to the edification of a deity. Typically, anyone who has a different opinion from them that tries to give them advice or something like that, they'll have beheaded or something. And I find it so important. Whereas in the regular corporate world, where, if your boss has a different opinion from you and you voice it, depending on what kind of person they are, they can just fire you, yo. For real. This is my company. Who do you think you are? I am the man here. Whereas in network marketing, we all have to work together to make it happen, to make this possible. And I love that because it requires all of us to have a certain to check ourselves. It requires all of us to, have this inner wheel moving in the back of our head, this intuition, okay, I did this wrong, I did this, and the people who don't have that, they're typically exited out of network marketing. Personal development is a very big thing for it. So, if this episode was valuable to you, if you liked, what I do with this sort of informal conversation, I do appreciate, likes, shares, comments, subscribes, and all that stuff. but we had to do this a little bit differently. As you see, I'm having it on my cell phone. I can move it around. Typically, I have it over my what is this word in English? Camera. You plug it into the laptop, and it sees things. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Webcam. Hey. Yeah, my English is not that bad yet. So yeah, so I do apologize about that. It's just this huge file that's uploading right now on my Wi-Fi. So I can't be using the Wi-Fi right now while that's going through and doing a live at the same time. So I had to do it off my phone, right? So don't worry, next episode is going to be over a webcam next Thursday. Yes, next Thursday I will be in either Disneyland or Universal Studios or both of them. So it's going to be a very short episode because it's probably just going to be me like screaming at you like, you should be here. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It's going to be fun. But, you know, I did commit to doing it every Thursday. So, you know, even though I'll be having fun, I don't want to go against my own personal, you know, putting my foot down. This is what I'm doing every Thursday, right? So I definitely appreciate you guys spending some of your valuable time to watch this live or to watch the replay. If you saw it live and you don't mind, comment live. If you saw it replay, you can comment hashtag replay or the hashtag live. And yeah, thank you so much for, you know, being a part of my journey, observing it, you know, becoming a part. I already said that. So yeah, appreciate you guys, and let's grow.